Vorothorm entered the secret chamber where he planned to make his sacrifice. Motes of dust danced in the single shaft of sunlight illuminating the blood-stained altar. He stood before it, fidgeting in anticipation, his bony hands itching to reach out and start the ritual. A statue of a young woman dressed in ceremonial robes cradled the sacred blade against her throat. Beneath her, a small rabbit lay trussed upon the altar. Its legs were bound with a leather thong, and it cried out in fear as it caught the scent of blood from its predecessors. Vorothorm rested his hands on the animal to quiet it. He imagined that it were a young wizard upon his altar, not a field animal. He visualized himself performing that sacrifice. Plucking the knife from the arms of the maiden at the precise moment the sun struck the blade, he'd make one smooth, quick motion, cutting a single slice across the boy's throat. The power of the boy's magic would be his tenfold to add to his growing personal reserve. A shadow fell across the altar, blocking the shaft of sunlight, breaking his reverie. Rage boiled within him as he turned to face the intruder. "How dare you interrupt?" he cried out. "Who could be so insolent as to disturb my sacrifice?" The interloper stood there, calmly. He was tall and thin, with a shaved head that highlighted the shape of his skull and accentuated his bird-like beak of a nose. His long black robes were trimmed in gold, swirling the dust as he moved. "Surad," Vorothorm said slowly, "to what do I owe this honor?" He controlled his breathing and reduced his heart rate as he'd been taught. Surad would not have made the trip to Veldwaite needlessly. Something extraordinarily disconcerting must have happened. Vorothorm wasn't sure he wanted to know what, as it never meant good news for him. "I have located a pair," Surad said. He stated it simply, without a trace of emotion, as if it happened every day. "A pair?" Vorothorm asked, though he knew what Surad meant. "A pair of wizards. One wizard, one sorceress." Discovery of a pair was the worst news Surad could have uttered. Vorothorm stared at him unblinking. "Yes, a pair," Surad confirmed. "I sensed them some time ago. A boy and his sister, from what I could tell. Very young." He casually walked around the altar, looking down at the preparations Vorothorm had made for the sacrifice. "What did you sense? Where are they? Who are they?" "Slow down." Surad hopped up and seated himself on the altar, arranging his robes as he did. Only he would dare such a sacrilege. "You must have a plan," Vorothorm insisted. "I have a plan, but it is you who will carry it out," Surad said. "We can't allow a pair of wizards to come into their power. Think Ran, their brother and sister. At least we have that in our favor." As brother and sister, the pair would be somewhat restrained in their union. At least Vorothorm hoped they would. He shuddered at the thought of them being otherwise. "Where are they now?" Vorothorm asked, secretly hoping Surad would allow him to take the power from them both. That kind of power would send him to the top of the temple hierarchy, maybe even above Surad himself. "To your great fortune, they've already been separated," Surad said. "The boy is fleeing. The girl remains at home with her family." He picked up the sacrificial knife and fondled it. Then he used it to trace arcane figures in the thick, dried blood staining the altar. "What have you planned?" Vorothorm asked. He wished Surad would get to the point. There might yet be time to complete the sacrifice and claim the creature's power, no matter how insignificant it might be. "We've captured the boy. Even now he lies trapped, safely out of your way. You must act without delay. Kill the girl while he is helpless." "Is he that strong?" Pairs were so rare that Vorothorm didn't know what to expect. "He is," Surad said. "Strong enough to stop us?" He didn't want the boy interfering as he drained